We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights?
We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights?
Members of the Windrush generation have called for the end of the hostile environment, deportation policy at the rally outside Downing Street. We are just going to get a few comments from the protesters here. Oh, here comes one now. Are you here for the protest?
Protest? I'm not even quite sure that I know what this is all about.
It's for the Windrush situation. Do you have any opinions on this?
Here's my thing. I'm a black woman, and my parents are from the Caribbean. But you don't see me standing up protesting about something that has absolutely nothing to do with me. I actually find this all quite a bit silly.
Silly? Are you really going to call it silly? How can you be so ignorant? I came here when I was 13 years old from Jamaica. I don't even remember Jamaica. I finished school here. I got my first job here. And I work here up to this day. 2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And you know what they told me? That I have to pay £64,000 to get the treatment that I need. How is that fair? How do you get the treatment free that I have to pay for? And I don't know about you, but I don't have £64,000 sitting in my pocket. So don't you dare come here and tell me that what I am protesting for is silly.
Thank you, sir. Have your opinions on this matter changed?
I understand what he's saying, really I do, but I also believe that if he wanted the rights that citizens get, he should have just simply gotten the proper documentation.
Are you serious, love? Are you really serious right now? Get the right documentation. I had to watch my own son struggle for 10 years to get the right documentation to be considered a citizen in his own home. He changed, lady. He wasn't the same anymore. First he stopped coming over on the Saturdays. Then he stopped answering my calls. They were pestering him, threatening to throw him out the country. And I'm sure that that contributed to his death. You know, I had to bury my son, the little savings I had. So when you say something so ignorant like that, think about me. Think about all of us, because I am black.
We are black. We have no papers, so they're sending us back. We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights?
Let's put this all into context. What started all this? Let's go back to World War II.
I remember the Englishmen coming to the village saying, "Come, fight for your motherland." Now you see, most of the boys in the village thought it was a privilege to fight for England. Me? I read those statements made by that devil Hitler saying that black people and Jews are less than human. I'm gonna go to that war and shoot all the tails off if they think of us like that. And then come back home.
When we first arrived in the Caribbean, in England, there was no discrimination against us. We were all here for the same purpose. We talked together, we played together, we trained together, and most importantly,
we fought together.
By the right, quick march. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Attention! At ease.
Message from the Crown. War has now been declared over, which means means that the services of some of you will no longer be needed. So, as you are dismissed, you pack your belongings and you leave. Is that understood?
Sir, yes, sir.
Is that understood, boy?
Sir, yes, sir.
Good. As you are.
Attention! Company, dismissed!
The same people that we talked with, laughed with, trained with, fought with, drank with, turned around and treated us as if the bonds we made and the memories and stories that we shared were just figments of our imaginations. Like we weren't men fighting for the same cause anymore. Like we were dirt, scum. We were nothing but blacks to them now, colored, less than human.
I remember going to school and having my teacher pin up this map on the board. She said, "This is England." She said it was authority and admiration. This country created what we thought was more than and what we thought was less than. And guess what? Everything about us headed that last list.
Sometimes I look back on all the times that I spent in England, and I'm surprised that all of these years gone by. Looking back at general life in England, how life really hard for the men back there. And if it wasn't that we used to sit down and talk about back home, we would all suffer like hell.
A job, a mean place to sleep, food to eat, a cigarette to smoke. And even though the welfare stays in the background, when a man out to work, he like a fish out of water gasping for air. It's have some men, when they lose their job, they act as if the world ending. And when 2-3 weeks go by and they're still out of work, they get so desperate, they will do anything.
It would do you people well to learn to speak English as the king does, not in that rough and country way you people do.
She doesn't understand us. She doesn't talk like us. She's not civilized like us. She only talking drum.
London is the place for me.
She only talking.
London is the place for me.
She only talking.
London
She
is
only
the place
talking.
for me.
She only talking.
London is the place for me.
There wasn't no woman who lived in a shoe.
There wasn't a woman who lived in a shoe.
There wasn't no woman who lived in a shoe. There wasn't no woman who lived in a shoe. There wasn't no woman who lived in a shoe. There wasn't no woman who lived in a shoe. Imagine growing up where you can't go to school because your mother works on a plantation. Imagine having hopes and dreams that you want come true because you want to grow up and you want to be a school teacher. But you ain't got no education because you can't go to school. That's the reality for my little sister. So if it means I gotta go to England and make something of myself, I can do it for she.
She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do.
Everywhere I go, it just seems like more of them are appearing. All I see are
Chimneys with smoke that must mean that there's opportunities and factories close by. I'll never forget
how uncomfortable I felt when that black family moved in next door. I feared for the lives of my family. I just felt so
cold. How evident people live in such a climate. First thing on my to-do list
was by an overcoat. But I just couldn't contain
My dismay. And every time I have to go close to one of those black... Now, you see, I have no problem with the color of their skin. It's just they bathe in pungent oils. I just...
had to further my studies as a nurse so I could stand back for my mom, you see? She's depending on me to make it here. So I just had to do what I needed to do. I just keep trying.
To tell my daughter that those black boys are no good for her. Our kind and their kind should never mix. But I still see the way that
They look at me like I'm a thing, not a person or a human being just like them. No blacks allowed. I've given up. What's the point?
She fed them some broth without any bread. She fed them some broth without any bread. She fed them some broth without any bread.
She fed them some broth without any bread.
Hi, good evening. I see that you have a vacant room here. Can I?
No!
Hi, good morning. I really need a place to sleep and you have an empty room. Can I?
No!
Please!
No!
Please!
No!
Please!
No!
Please!
No. Yes. But you will have to be paying the same amount as if you were paying for the entire house. You will be sharing the space with about 40 other blacks, and there's not good maintenance, but I don't want to be hearing any complaints about that. That will do.
And whipped them all softly and sent them to bed.
We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights?
And this concludes all coverage of the Windrush protest.
We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights? We live here all our lives, so how can you tell us we have no rights?